Hey, Chris.
Hey, Rod, how's it going?
Hey, question for you.
Yeah?
Your loved one dies and you need a priest. What do you do?
I would go to Priests R Us,
That's logical. Priests are us.
or maybe we'll just talk to this next guest and we'll find out.
I think we're going to be lucky enough to have a priest on our show.
We are lucky enough.
Absolutely. Hey, this is Rod.
And this is Chris.
We are Unqualified,
And Unsupervised.
the show where two guys try to figure out life after loss with no experts, no scripts, just experience.
We're going to have the unfiltered conversations about hard topics that no one wants to talk about, but everyone should. Coming from a couple of guys who were forced to join a club we didn't want to join. Hey, Rod, how you doing this week?
Hey, good. How about you?
I'm doing great.
Good. You had a good week?
I had a great week.
Cool. So did I.
Yeah, what'd you do?
It's interesting.
Another interesting week for
a
you.
rolling
How-
a rolling rod gathers no moss.
I guess it would not.
I'm sure there's an inappropriate comment to that. Anyway, no. My friend had his MMA fight on Saturday night, so I went and watched him fight.
MMA.
And
Interesting.
yeah, I don't know what Muay Thai is. Do you know what that is?
No idea.
Okay. Well, someone will fill me in.
I thought MMA meant mixed martial arts.
It is, but and they had different classes and different
I
different.
gotcha. See, I know
styles.
nothing about it.
Well, I'm learning. All I see is people kicking and hitting.
Yeah, some badass dudes and women in the ring
But
there.
it's interesting to watch the fighters themselves. Fitness looks different on everybody.
Yeah, true.
And some
So
of
you're saying they're not all cut and lean and
they're
super
not
buff?
They're not.
Interesting.
So there was a couple of jiggly guys. Here's
Jiggly
well, no, they
guys.
they had 30%
I'm
body
sure
fat.
that's how they want to be introduced. And now in the blue trunks,
basically
jiggly guy.
the blue corners is jiggly guy. No, but my takeaway on that was that
jiggly.
I gave them credit for doing it. They were brave
Sure.
enough
I wouldn't do it.
to show up for practice, and they're in the ring, and they're doing it. They're on their way, which I thought was a
Sure.
good.
I mean, the only thing I'd have going for me in MMA is I could probably outrun the other guy long enough.
Yeah. That would
I
that
got
would
the
work.
endurance to go 13, 14 miles.
I don't know though. Some of those guys do a lot.
I know.
Of,
I'd have to have a lot of speed to get out.
training.
If I could get out ahead of them,
But
maybe I could stay there.
We sat on a table in the floor, which was good. But I was there to support my friend because I listened to how he trains. He's doing something every day.
Mm-hmm.
He's training. He's been doing this. He was a former Navy SEAL candidate.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is
Badass.
part of it. Yeah. And I've known my friend since he was 16. We lifeguarded together, and so I've watched this evolution. And he was really helpful when Jeff died. He was one of my go-to
nice.
people, So I want to support him.
Absolutely.
in
That's
his
awesome.
endeavor.
That's awesome that you can.
So anyway, today, what do you do when you need a priest?
Yeah, well, like I said in the opening, I guess I'd just call Priests R Us because I really don't know where you shop for one of those.
Well, we're in luck.
Oh, are we?
We've got Father Josh coming
We're always
on.
so lucky on this show, aren't
I
we?
know.
We've always got the right person.
It's not what you know; it's who you know.
Exactly.
So anyway, we're gonna have Father Josh. I met him quite a few years ago, actually at a graveside service.
Of course you did.
It was his first. Where
else would you have met
weekend?
him?
Well, usually in church.
I would hope.
or Priests Are Us.
Yeah.
It's
a great little place.
But my friend had died, and this was her committal service with her husband.
Okay.
And it was in July, and it was like 90 degrees. And my friend that I took with me to the cemetery was in the car. And so I asked the young priest if he would want to meet my friend. And anyway, so in the process of that, we got to know each other. I started cutting his hair. I found out we had a lot of things in common. He's musical. He's got a great sense of humor. He's very athletic, very fit, which I think is important for priests. Their job is grueling. Their job is really, you're all over the place, and you have to be everybody's priest.
Sure.
So it's an interesting profession. So we're going to find out from Father Josh what it takes.
Excellent. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, Rod.
Hey, we talked earlier about when someone dies, what happens next, and how do you find a priest? And so tonight we have Father Josh Link with us
Perfect.
to answer our questions about the rituals of Catholicism and burial, and his own personal thoughts on how do you take care of families and that type of thing.
Sure.
So,
and how you take care of your own
we're
families.
Father Josh, welcome to our show.
Yeah. Great to meet you, Father Josh.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So let's launch right into this. How did you what was your journey to becoming a priest? Like how did that happen?
Yeah. So I guess everyone's journey to the priesthood, and just like any job or vocation or lifestyle that they live, it all looks differently. There's no one that really kind of has the same journey with that, which is something that I think is, fairly unique and important to always recognize that there was 5 guys that I was ordained with, and I was the youngest one of the 5. I started right out of high school when I was 18.
Wow.
I had one guy in my class who was 45 when he started, and 2 of them had just finished college, and then one transferred into after his junior year of college. So, all 5 of us had different experiences. But I started thinking about the priesthood when I was in 5th grade. Like everyone kind of thinks about what do they want to do when they grow up. And I mean, obviously I had to think about that as well. But
Sure.
My family, we always went to church on Sunday. Like faith was a part of our life pretty regularly. It wasn't something that we, kind of fit in when we had time, but it was a part of who we were.
It was a tradition. Tradition. You had a long family. Like, your whole family is Catholic, right? I would assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my whole family's Catholic, and so so it was kind of very normal for us going to mass and praying the rosary or praying before meals, and going to the Stations of the Cross. Not eating meat on Fridays. Fasting. Like participating in normal like religious things.
Sure.
So when I went to a Catholic school as well, and so when I had that first thought about like priesthood, and it was like, oh, that's something that I could do, I guess. I mean, it doesn't look too hard. You only work on Sundays and just a couple hours.
Typical 5th grade thinking. Yeah. Just work on Sundays. Sure. Got it.
But then as you kind of, so I mean, since I had that thought, like at such a young age, like when I was in high school, and you had to think about like what you were going to do when you go into college, what are you going to major in, where are you going to go? Since I started thinking about the priesthood at such a young age, thinking about the priesthood as like a real option for me, like after high school, and going to the seminary was, a pretty reasonable next step. So, lots of people think that like when you go to the seminary, you're kind of signing your life away, which really isn't true. I mean, I started at Mundelein Seminary in Chicago when I was 22 after I graduated college seminary, and there were 60 guys in my class, and we only finished with like 33.
Okay, back up.
So,
back up. Okay. There's college seminary, and then there's college seminary, and then there's other seminary.
Yeah, I thought seminary was seminary.
It is, but like what you study is different. So that's kind of one of the things that's a little bit different with like Catholics and like Protestants or non-denominational Christians. Like there's a lot of requirements, and there's a lot of things that you have to do in order to be a Catholic priest. So you have to have and the requirements are even more now after I finished. So the first thing you have to do is you have to get a college degree. Then you also have to have 30 credits of philosophy. So you have to take, which is basically a degree. So the thing
that's a lot of credits.
So I did my undergrad in philosophy. So I just did my philosophy, like my seminary philosophy, as my college degree. So I just did that at the same time. So a lot of guys, like what the other guys in my class did, is they went to college and like majored in whatever they wanted, like music education, business, or whatever, history. I majored in philosophy, and then they came back after college and then joined me. So for them, they would have went to college for 4 years, come back, done their philosophy for 2 years, and then we would have went to what's called major seminary, where you study theology and you get a graduate level of theology course, or you get a master's degree in theology and stuff like that. Now, when you're there, you also have to take, like Latin, Greek, sometimes Hebrew.
Musical theater.
You also have to. Nope, no musical
no
theater.
musical theater.
Sorry.
Okay, all right.
No musical theater.
Darn
you can
it.
do that on your own free time.
I was
if you
so
want
close.
To.
I was so close.
But,
musical theater.
Yeah.
Missed it by that
Missed it by that much. That's right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They're oftentimes confused, the two.
Right.
So once you kind of do those are called, like your historic languages, or your biblical languages. You have to do those. And then you also have to do like oftentimes Spanish. Some places you have to do like Polish or like Tagalog. Just kind of depends on where you are. So I did a Spanish immersion too, a summer where I studied Spanish.
Oh, that's
you
right.
Also have to do,
because you would do a service. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. You would drive and do like every so often go do a service, a Spanish service in another town.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yep, I've done them in Britt, New Hampton, Charles City, Mason City.
But Father Ben does that now, right? He kind of took your place.
He does the one in Mason City. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then the priest in Green does the other ones now. So,
oh, okay.
But yeah, so you have to oftentimes learn a foreign language. And then you have to do what's called like your clinical pastoral education, where you have to do like, it's called CPE for short. We have to do like hospital training and go and train, learn how to do like hospital ministry.
Right.
And then every summer you also have like an intensified like internship where you're working in a parish or doing something in the church where you're learning different things. So like when I was in the seminary, I did an internship at Epiphany Parish in Mason City. I was also at Nativity Catholic Church in Dubuque. I was at St. Edward's Catholic Church in Waterloo, St. Joseph's Catholic Church. I was at St. Ed's. Yep. And then I did St. Joe's in Marion, Iowa as well.
Sure.
So that's what you kind of do with your summers.
I'm going to back up a little bit, Josh, Father Josh, because we're friends. I'm just going to drop the father part. Let's go back to the. Oh, I have too many. Way too many stories that we're going to get into later. But you've gone through this. You've gone through this education, but you also have to go through the ordination. That final whatever. And what's involved in ordination? What's that process? Because I don't think a lot of people understand what that process is.
I have no idea what that is, but I also have no idea what a lot of things are.
Okay.
Well, and I didn't tell you guys like the stuff I told you was like the easy parts,
right?
I didn't tell you guys about the evaluations, the board interviews, and the psychological interviews, the medical testing.
They tested you.
Testing.
They tested you psychologically.
Oh my gosh!
And you still made it. And you still made it.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, apparently
there is no way I'd be a priest.
Like
they're like, no, he's
an
done.
Application process and everything.
Oh my gosh! Okay,
that's like the stuff you have to do. Like, but before, like when I first started, I had to do. This is just even to just get into the seminary, right?
Right.
You have to go through. I had to get like a medical test, blood work. I had to get an IQ test. I had to do.
Then you really couldn't be in the priesthood, Rod. You're not passing an IQ test.
There is no way that I
had to.
There's so many wrongs here that I just know that's like, nope, Lutheran is good. If I and barely that. Anyway, you go on.
So after the IQ testing, then you had to get like, it's called like a psychological evaluation where they evaluate you like psychologically.
So what does that entail?
Yeah. What purpose does that serve?
Well, essentially, if a priest screws up, and does something real stupid, they hopefully it's to avoid those things.
Right.
So,
right.
Like years and years and years ago, there was like no psychological testing. Well, like the 80s and 90s, they really didn't start doing it.
A long time ago. far away,
In a
far away,
galaxy far, far away.
Galaxy far, far away. I'm sorry, but go. Okay,
You should try to let him talk.
Okay, go.
I've known Rod a long time.
Yeah, so none of this is a surprise.
No, I know.
None of it's a
You just let
surprise.
It wasn't
him
for
talk,
Ed
and then,
either.
you know, he'll stop talking eventually.
All right.
Yeah, so you had to do all of that stuff before you can apply. So like that's all like in your application. You had the whole thing where back in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they really didn't start the psychological stuff and like the deep evaluations of guys even upon entrance until like the early like mid 2000s, like after the sexual abuse scandal.
Sure.
Which is like a lot of those things probably could have been prevented if they would have like evaluated guys psychologically, because for many, many, many years, there were certain things, there were certain behaviors, and there were certain lifestyles, that really like weren't accepted, not just one in the church, but in society. Right. And if you like were something, I mean, and I hate to say it, but oftentimes like the priesthood was kind of like a way to kind of like escape that. And, a way to kind of like, in a sense, hide, it's like, sure. I'll give my life to God, like I'll pray, I'll serve the poor, I'll serve those who are in need, like I'll, it's like a way of doing something good with your life. I mean, cause like, not to say that like pedophiles are bad people. I'm sure some of them are, but sure, some of them, like it might be like something that they struggle with, and it's probably something that they hate about themselves. Right.
Well, I think the gay issue is the major thing. Like do priests hide behind the priesthood because they're gay? And that gives them a life.
There's a lot of that too.
Right. I mean, we're not, I don't want to cover that. That's another subject for another time. But the psychological. Do you think that these psychological testings have made a difference? Like, are they helping? So priests are not struggling with these things, these issues. Has it helped?
I think it has substantially, because if you look at the number of like sexual abuse of like minor cases,
right,
from like the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s and like early 2000s, like before they started doing that, and looking at after it's called the Dallas Charter is what, like when they kind of put those things into place. If you look at the numbers like pre and post that, it's not even comparable.
Wow. Huh.
I mean, because like when you evaluate someone like psychologically and you look, I'll just be completely honest. Like it's an incredibly invasive and an incredibly embarrassing evaluation that they do of you.
That makes sense.
Well, it has to be to get to the root of who and what you really are.
Right.
Exactly, and it gets to the root of your intentions too.
Sure.
And your like not just your intentions, but also like. So they'll ask you like the same question in like a bunch of different ways, it's like, okay, well, we got this answer. Will we still get the same answer if we ask it in all these different ways? Really trying to kind of get to the root of like, are they hiding something?
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. So it's made a huge difference. I mean, obviously you're going to have guys who will slip through the cracks. I mean,
sure.
Like sometimes those things, because no system is perfect.
Nothing is.
So,
but it lessens the chances of incidences. So you've gotten through all these tests, and then you've passed the IQ, you've done the psychological, all these things. Then what goes on? What happens?
Then you go to school.
Okay. Okay.
So you had to go through these things when you were 18.
So I started it when I was 18. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a lot for an 18-year-old.
Well, and then sometimes like it depends on like where you go to school, that those things are only really valid for like, I think a few years. So like a lot of guys have to like redo them when they were after 2 or 3 years, like when they go to the next school. So that happened. Just, guys, they just have to make sure, it all comes down to like, it's like liabilities, right? Like, do you want to say like, oh yeah, we gave this guy our seal of approval and he went and did a bunch of stupid things.
Right.
No one wants that. Right. So once you kind of get through all of that stuff and you pass all your classes and you also have to get what's called endorsed, like where your classmates also think there's nothing wrong with you. Your faculty members think there's nothing wrong with you.
Oh, okay.
Again, Rod, you're out.
I'm totally screwed. Yes, go on.
Yeah, So once, like they kind of say, like the school gives their endorsement of each individual guy, then it's like, okay, they give an endorsement and then it goes to the bishop who's in charge of a diocese. And the bishop can essentially make the final decision, be like, yep, you've passed all these things, all the exams, all the psychologicals, all the interviews, your classmates say yes, the school says yes, they all say yes, but I think you're a weirdo, so get out. You're done.
Wow.
And you're done.
Wow. So you could go through the whole thing.
Yeah, that actually happened to one of my classmates. Yep, he made it all the way through. And then like a couple of weeks before, like we graduated, his bishop said, yep, you're not going to get ordained. You're done. And he was done.
Wow.
So quick question. The hierarchy,
and that probably wasn't a bad thing.
Sure.
Okay, so
it's kind of weird.
But it is a bit of a leap of faith to even start that whole process
absolutely.
then. Because you could do it all and be great and still.
Wow. So, but you determined pretty early on that you wanted to be just a parish priest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
how's that working out for you?
I think pretty well. I mean, I'm not going up the ladder anytime soon. So
okay. I want to give you a little insight to the parish priest, the lifestyle of a parish priest. Okay. I think it's one of the first Christmas.
Please do.
Okay, it's one of the first Christmases. And I said, hey, I've got some Chex Mix for you. Come on over, Rod. I have no idea what's waiting for me. I get to his apartment because it's in the I don't know, it's attached to the church.
The rectory?
The rectory, yes.
Yeah, the rectory.
And I go in, his dining room table is full of food. The buffet where normal liquor would be, full of food. Kitchen, full of food. He goes, Rod, he opens his refrigerator. There's like food everywhere. It's Christmas time. Mm-hmm. And we're talking, and all of a sudden he gets out a plastic container and he starts loading it up. I said, what are you doing? And he said, well, I'm sending this home. I said, no, you're not. And he said, yes, I am. Rod, I can't eat all of this. Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Food. Well, I think everybody thinks he can't cook, which is not true. He does know how to cook. He's a very good cook. And I've been the benefactor of several wonderful meals. But just the idea, I did switch it a couple years because I found out that there's no way he can eat all this food. But I also know that he goes to my gym, and I thought that would be more beneficial. So anybody that said, I don't know what to get Father Josh for Christmas, get him a gift certificate to the gym. Well, a lot
of people do that now.
Right.
It's a great gift. The gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
He can work out with the coach. He can buy supplements. Yep. He can do all these wonderful things, and it keeps him healthy, which is the idea.
That's the most important.
You want to keep your priest healthy and happy about you, Josh, that you do maintain your health. And I also, in my conversations with Father Ben, I think that's also part of the new priesthood is keeping your health. Like looking after your health. And a lot of them don't.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. I mean, and a lot of priests say that like they just don't have time, which, I think it's kind of dumb. I mean,
how do you not have time?
Everybody says they don't have time to take care of themselves or do any kind of, but you know what? Everyone does at some point. They've got some time in the day. Right. They could at least even just walk around the block.
Right.
And not have a candy bar.
And I'm not going to name names, but I do know a priest that's in the gym about 4:00 in the morning.
Do you?
I do. I know this one. Jeez. And sass, I get, you're not at the gym, Rod. It's like, screw you, Father Josh. I'm on my way, Jeez.
You just outed me, Rod.
That's what I like about you, Rod. You know how to talk to clergy.
I did. It's just like no, but I yes, there's a dedication. I couldn't do what he does. But I'm there doing what I can do.
And that's what's important.
Okay, I've watched Father Josh work out. It's pretty monster.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm going to,
good.
It's scary good.
He's got a lot of power back there.
Well,
I'd like to get back to the more show topic. And then when you're dealing with, funerals and And especially when it's somebody that's close to you. Have you ever had somebody close to you, that you've had to lead the service for? And how did you get through that? How did you hold the room together when it was falling apart?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll just be completely honest. Funerals are probably it's probably my favorite part about being a priest. I love doing those. I love doing funerals. Not like a weird way, like, like a weird, creepy
someone
way.
died. Here we go.
Yeah.
We'll miss mom, but no. All right.
I like them because it's such a great opportunity to be with people, like when they're at their worst, and you get to be like a source of like consolation for them and bring them and offer them healing, reconciliation, and closure in when like no one else really can. And I don't know, I just find that, really enjoyable and honestly like a privilege to be able to do that, to just like be called upon when, so usually for like the funeral process, like for me as a priest, it starts even before they die. It starts like when they're sick or when they are, at in their last or final hours. That's when I usually go and do the sacrament of the anointing of the sick, or otherwise commonly known as last rites. So I'll be with the family and the person in their final hours. I've been there when they have taken their last breath, and with the family at those times, and just kind of been there with them in that. And you're right, Chris. I mean, like, there's a difference when like the person and when you don't. I mean, clearly. I mean, if it's someone you don't know or you just met like 20 minutes ago, obviously, like, it's still sad, and you can still definitely feel that, and you can still definitely enter into that moment with those families, and you can still 100% grieve with them. But it's a little, I would say, quote unquote, a little easier to kind of help people grieve when when you're not the one grieving, if that makes sense.
You can kind of keep an arm's length, like step away from it a little bit.
Well, and it's easier to see the big picture.
Well, it's easier to see that, but like, I don't know how to kind of say it without being like weird.
That's okay. This show's all about weird. We're good with that.
Yeah, Rod.
I was gonna say I've already beat you to the weird part.
So I don't know. I've noticed especially like when I worked in the hospital. I mean, I would get called there all the time, and you go, and it's like you meet that's when you're meeting the family. It's like they might be from out of town or whatever, or like when you first get to a parish, you have to, you don't know the people yet, right? Like, Rod, that's when I met you.
Right. We met at a graveside service. Yeah.
Yeah. Jerry Hess. Right.
Yep.
And
I've never seen a priest use so much holy water as that time. That was,
they said he needed it.
So. I was going to say, was he trying to use it on you?
No, it was a funny moment. But anyway, yes, you're meeting people for the first time. Yes.
Yeah. So that's when I met them, and they're wonderful people. But I mean, like, I wish I would have had the opportunity to know them like for years before that. It probably would have, impacted, how I preached or how I ministered to them, just being able to kind of do that in a much more personal way. But then, like, that's one of the nice things about being a parish priest is like, you really do get to know people. And Father Neil Modernock told me this, like, when I was at Epiphany, we had funerals constantly. And I had just gotten there, and, I'm doing sometimes 3 funerals a week. Wow. And, oftentimes I don't even know who they are because I haven't been there. I just got there, and I'm like, Father Neil, how do you do this? Like, just, it's like, I don't know these people, I'm trying to do the best I can. And I want to give more to the families, but like, I feel like I can only give so much because of just how little I know them. And he's like, well, Josh, sometimes, like the longer you're in a place, there will come a moment where you stop burying parishioners and you start burying friends.
Right.
Oh, and
so true.
And I can't tell you how true that is. I mean, I've been at St. Pat's for 5 years, and I've buried a lot of my friends.
Right.
And that's when it gets really hard. I mean, and not to say that you can't get choked up, because I do, and I have, but sometimes like when the families see like your human side, like it also does a lot for them. It helps them. It's like, Like I actually had the honor of burying one of my former students at Newman. I mean, she was only 21 years old. And I mean, I knew her since she was in middle school, and, you know, she had a lot of health problems and just really kind of struggled that way. But just, you know, just the sweetest girl, like just kind as all could be, and just had incredible faith. And yeah, that was really, really hard. It was really hard.
Right.
And
but you get through it. You get through it.
You do.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, and I think the best way to describe it is like, no matter if they're like friends or if like you just got to a place and you're still trying to get to know people and you might not know people as well, you still do all of the work out of love. And if you're doing it out of love and with kindness and charity and patience, then you're usually fine. And then things usually go well. I always try to keep those things in my mind. Like when I'm doing funerals for people, it's like, you know, just, I mean, there might be some things that are frustrating, or people might say frustrating things, or things might be difficult and challenging scheduling wise. And there's a lot of details, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, we got to do this out of charity. We got to do this out of love. And just because like, they don't need a teacher right now. They just need someone to love them.
Well, I'm going to jump in here because I am the benefactor of Father Josh's love and benevolence.
Sure.
And because when Jeff was sick, he would go and talk, and I know that Jeff had asked him to help with his service, and like I've told Father this many times that I'm forever grateful for what he did and how he helped Jeff, and with his passing and everything, and just the way he brought funny. I mean, it was a great service, you know, and how it was conducted. It was just enough humor. It was just enough. No, it was just great. And just the idea that because he knew Jeff, he knew what he could get by with. My great story is the night before the Jeff service, he said, he texted me and said, can I say that Jeff is gay? And I'm like, I text back like that. I think they know. And so anyway, I think
you're not opening the closet door at this point.
But I think what it was is like, can I say this in my remarks? Okay. Yeah. So we're just seconds away from going into the chapel that day, and Father goes to like, Rod, are you okay? I said, well, I'm a little nervous. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, I think you're going to out Jeff on the day of his funeral. I don't really think it's, great. But I do play the video over and over. I love the fact that he used the Young Frankenstein, reference.
Which one?
About the brain. Is that Abby Normal?
You're telling me
normal brain. You told me an apple in a 6 foot whatever.
Wait a minute, I thought this was Jeff's funeral, not yours.
It was, I know, right?
Yeah.
But I've told
fabulous.
people. Not only did our friend Josh show up, but Father Josh. I mean, we had this duality, and I think that plays to when you're burying someone that you know. You have that duality. You're not only just Father Josh, but you're Josh. And when you've talked about having to bury your family, your Uncle Josh, your grandson Josh, that's a heavy road too to be on.
Yeah. And I didn't have that opportunity until actually, it was much quicker than I had probably hoped or wanted. I mean, not hoped, but no one really wants to do that, but,
sure.
So my grandpa died in January of 2022. No, January 2021. And I remember driving to Dubuque, where they're from, and I was going to do the funeral planning with my mom at the funeral home and the church and everything. And as I'm driving there, it's like a 3-hour drive. So I called one of my best friends from Chicago, and I was talking to him about it. And, I'm like, I'm kind of worried that my mom's going to ask me to preach. I mean, I'm fine doing the funeral, like being the priest that does it. But I'm like, I don't know if I want to be the one to give the homily for it.
Right.
And like, I was really, really struggling with that because I was afraid of like breaking down. And I was coming up with every reason in the book why I shouldn't do it. And when I was telling my friend Brad that, I remember him telling me, and he's like, can I just say one thing? And I'm like, okay, what? And he's like, no one will be able to preach to your family in this situation like you will. And if you don't do it, you'll regret it for the rest of your life.
Wow.
So that's heavy.
And he was right. And, I remember doing it. I mean, I still remember the homily that I gave. It was probably one of my better ones. And it was just, like it
But it
went
came
really
to you,
well.
though. You were inspired, though, right? At that point?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was like right at that point, but I was more accepting of the fact that, no matter the fact that this is going to suck or not, like I need to be the one to do this.
Right. Right.
And so I did my grandpa's funeral. I did my uncle's funeral. I did my grandma's funeral. And the hardest one was my nephew. I did my nephew's funeral.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I bet.
So, my sister, she gave birth. Well, they got the news that, she was pregnant, and they got the news like 5 months before she gave birth. No, 4 months or something like that before she gave birth, that he wasn't going to survive outside the womb. And so they, my family is, very faithful and all that. I mean, my sister especially, oh my gosh. And, she's like, I want to give my son every opportunity at life, no matter if it's 2 hours or 2 minutes or 20 years or whatever it is. She wanted to give him every chance. And, our family prayed and prayed and prayed, and she gave birth, and, we were all there, and they got 2 hours with him.
Wow.
And
wow.
It was sad. Oh my gosh, it was horribly sad. But then it was also tough, being there, as the priest and as brother, son, and uncle in that situation. But then, to preach that homily at that funeral was also a challenge. But I remember actually there was a priest who, I was always kind of, how do you say it? Like, I was always kind of afraid of. Not like that he would hurt me by any means.
Right.
Just like, he was very, very like critical in a sense. And he just had very, very high expectations. And you always felt like you were never going to meet those expectations.
Right. Never good enough.
So, so he was at the funeral, and I'm like, oh no.
Now this on top of everything else.
Right. And I'm like, I wonder just, I'm like, but this is what I have, and this is what I'm going to share, and this is what I'm going to say. And, I remember he had emailed me and told me like how well I did, and that there was another couple that was at that funeral mass who had a similar situation happen to them a long time ago, or like a year ago, I think. And, and he was just so glad that they were there, and then I was the one who gave the homily and said what I said, because he's like, I feel that your words could have really, really helped them. Like, what you said was amazing. And I'm like, wow, look at that. I finally reached expectation.
Woo, so look at me go.
That was healing.
What I'm wondering is going in, knowing that, my wife was sick for 5 years before she died, and, preparing for that. So in this situation, you knew death was going to be inevitable. Were there things that you did not only for your family, but for yourself to prepare yourself to get through that?
So that was actually the time where me and my family, and I don't know if they still do, but I still do, I found this prayer online. It's called the St. Jude Novena. And St. Jude, in the church, we have saints that are oftentimes, saints like patrons for like different causes or things or whatever, right? Like St. Anthony for lost things. St. Jude is the patron saint of hopeless causes. So like
Rod. Okay.
Yeah.
I know where he's going with this.
Yeah. St. Anthony's always looking for Rod.
Yeah. The hopeless cause. Yes.
So that situation, like in my family, we all felt like it was a hopeless cause, right? Like, who better to ask for the intercession of than St. Jude? And, so we all started saying that St. Jude novena, for something great to obviously like a miracle to happen. And, we didn't get the miracle that we asked for. I mean, I will say, this is one of the things that I mentioned and that I had said in my homily, that, I know, Rod, you are, but Chris, are you a parent? Do you have children?
Yeah, I do. I've got 2 boys. They're 27 and 23. So they were teenagers.
Yes.
A young teenager, an older teenager when Janice passed.
So you guys will both understand this. Every parent, what they do, is every adult, like when they have children, you work tirelessly for years, decades to try and teach that child and adult and person how to be the best that they possibly can be, right? Because every time they don't, sometimes you probably feel that it's a reflection on you, or like what you taught them and, like how you raised them. And it's like, no, how many times I'm sure you guys said you were raised better than this,
right?
It's like, that's not how I raised you. Right.
Yeah, maybe once or twice.
And why do we, and parents do that because they want what's best for their child. Right. And they want their child to succeed, and like, as Christians, we believe, like the ultimate goal in life is eternal life in heaven. Right. That's what it is. That's the end all be all. And, so like one thing that I had mentioned, with my sister is parents, they spend years, trying to, do the right thing and to teach their children the right thing, to hoping and to praying to God that they make the right choices, and that they don't become axe murderers and serial killers and stuff like that. Right. It's like every parent's
that's the general hope. Yeah.
And, and it wasn't, their situation wasn't perfect, but the only thing that my sister's son knew was love.
Right.
It's the only thing he knew in his life.
Sure.
From
that's fantastic.
The time he was conceived, from the time that the doctors told my sister to just abort your son and just move on with him and try again and just discard him, my sister said no.
Wow, that takes strength.
It does. And that's why I always say I'm a priest, but my sister is way better than me. Right.
But then Josh, there's more to that story though. I mean, tell us what happened afterward, because I think she went on to have a baby.
She had another. Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she went on.
So, and that was a really tough thing for them too. Was this going to happen again?
Right.
Because they weren't sure if this was a genetic thing. Would they do this to every child?
Oh, sure.
Can we do this again?
Right. Right. What's the outcome going to be?
Exactly. And so, oh my gosh, I think you guys both, I'm sure both know, as parents, that 20, is it the 20 week or the 24 week appointment where they get a scan or something like that?
Right in there.
Right.
Where it's it essentially tells you the baby's going to be fine, or going to be, have things wrong with it or something like that. Right. That was the appointment where my sister found out. And so, when she got pregnant again, it was shoot, we just got to get past this appointment.
Right.
Oh God. Yeah. The anxiety of waiting for that.
Oh my gosh. My sister had to go to counseling because of the anxiety was so bad for her.
Oh, I bet.
And then, everything ended up being okay. And then now Lucy is, she's going to be 1 at the end of May. And
wow.
Wonderful.
Also, praise God again that she's pregnant again, and she's due in October now as well.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's fantastic. I'm going to go back to some of the rituals of the church where incense is involved. I mean that's part because I've served funerals with you, and you're very good about explaining what the incense is. Have you ever set off a fire alarm?
Yeah, once at a funeral. Yeah, I did. Totally worth it.
I shouldn't tell you this, but we were kind of set up to ask you that question.
That's okay.
So what's the story?
So, well, every funeral, like I said, with a lot of the rituals, with ordination, funerals,
yes.
They're also very ritual heavy, right? And one of the best rituals that we have is, the mass of Christian burial, and where there's this, you meet the family, you place the pall on the casket,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And there's which is like a callback to their baptism, like the baptismal garment that they receive at baptism. We even sprinkle the casket with holy water, like your baptism again. We celebrate the funeral mass, and at the end is when we have the it's my favorite part, where we incense the urn or the casket, because scripturally, so incense is not just like a Christian thing. It actually comes from like the Jewish people in the desert, or I guess the Israelite people in the desert. And what they would do when they would like make an offering to God, they would burn their offerings, right? And they would light smoke or incense around different things when they were offering different things up to God. It was like a way of offering something or someone up to God. And when you'd watch that smoke rise up, and it was very symbolic that they're lifting something, lifting someone, giving that up to God. And then you'd watch the smoke rise up to God. And so, and you can't imagine a more, like a more peaceful moment for like a family.
Oh yeah, very
like
reverent.
When you incense, when you incense around their casket, and that smoke just rises up, and you just watch those families watch their loved one, and we offer them up to God. It's a really, really beautiful moment. I mean, it's you see some families get into it much more obviously than others, and you'll just have that. I mean, you never really know what people are dealing with mentally at the time. So, but still, no matter if they're engaged in it or not, it still happens, right?
Right. Well, no, but you set off a fire alarm.
Oh yeah, duh. Oh, sorry. Yeah,
yeah. You're not getting away with it. It was good, nice redirect there to try to get away from it.
After we incense around the casket, we sing a like a song, and then say some prayers, and then we process the final words. We say, "Now let us take our brother or our sister to her place of rest."
Yes.
And then we walk out of the church and head to the cemetery. But as we're walking out, like we just kind of stand off to the side of the entrance, and one of the servers was standing right underneath.
I think I was there for that one.
Yep. So now they stand at the other side, just in case it doesn't happen.
I remember that. Right. All of a sudden, the alarms are going off.
It had been like 4 years. I had been there at St. Pat's for like 4 years before that even happened. So I'm like, really? We've been doing this like all the time for like 4 years, and it never happened. And now it happens.
Now for this person.
Oh my gosh, that was funny.
So now what I need to know is having been on the fire department here in Clear Lake for a long time, did they clear the barn and surround the church? Because I'm pretty sure somebody would have known there was a funeral going on and a lot of people in the church.
No, I think they fanned the thing and got it
off.
Yeah.
And didn't.
So it didn't get that far, but that's amazing.
So there's like a whole system with it. So we just kind of went down and hit the button, and it turned the alarm off, and we were fine.
So Josh, what else do we need to know about what Catholics and how they observe funerals and death, and how they see death? How does it work?
Well, like one thing we always say in the prayers of the funeral mass is that, for your faithful Lord, life is changed, not ended. And when this earthly dwelling turns to dust, and blah, 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 blah. But I think that
is that an official
blah 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 yada 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 yada.
I don't remember the rest of it.
Hey man, here we go.
I don't remember the rest. That's the part I remember. It's an important part to remember too.
Sure.
Like, for your faithful Lord, life is changed. It's not ended. That we believe, that like if we're faithful to this, if like we're faithful to you, Lord, that life is changed. Like you're born into eternal life, right? Like it's not just, it's done, all right,
sure,
have fun on the ground, and that's all she wrote.
Well, the one that bothers me is what bothers me is that they've changed in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye. And that bothers me, because I've gone to different churches and they've changed it. Like how can you get any better than in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye?
That seems a little wordy.
But that's
I've never heard that one.
You have not in a moment. It's even in the Messiah. In a moment, in a twinkling of an eye. It's so descriptive, right? No, but it's scripture, and they always want
scripture.
Oh, geez. Well,
oh boy.
You guys
remember, you didn't get in.
People say things are in the Bible. It's like, is it really? I don't know.
Well, in the King James, this is
to get Rod off of that. What do you want
Rod's
people to
gonna
know?
Google that one.
You know, what's a final message you want people to know about their grief and dealing with it and moving forward and all of that kind of thing?
Father Neil Modernock, he's a good priest friend of mine, and he was my priest mentor when I was first ordained. And I mean, he's oftentimes one of the guys that I call when I have questions. He had made a good statement one time that he said, you know, Josh, sometimes the only way out is through.
Well, so did Captain Kirk in Star Trek.
Neither of them were wrong.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of where I heard it.
I don't know. I've never seen Star Trek. I'm not a nerd, so.
Anyway, but Father is right. He's right. Sometimes the only way is through. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, well, that's sort of like in the fire service when we're doing SCBA training where we're working through mazes with our masks blacked out and we're trying to simulate like we're in a house that's either full of furniture or something has collapsed, that there's always a way to go. If you can't go forward, you can't go back, you can't go right, you can't go left, you can't go down.
Right.
I bet you can go up. So you go up and through. I like that. I really like that.
Because I think oftentimes people want to escape their grief, and they want to not deal with it. They want to put it aside, or you know, I mean, you can go through like the 5 stages of grief, but you know, you'll go through the 5 stages of grief whether you want to or not. It's just kind of a part of the process.
Right.
I mean, denial is usually one of those bigger ones that people oftentimes struggle with, and I think denial and anger are like the two most like the ones that people sit in the most.
Right. I sat on both of those forever, for a long time.
Yeah. And that's until you finally go through.
Josh, we're out of time. We really appreciate you being this. This has been great.
It has been. So
I think we're probably going to need to have him back on.
Yeah.
Another time.
You know, we might need to, but you know what I'm noticing is I've been sitting across from Rod here for a little while. Man, have you ever noticed the arms on that guy? Holy moly!
They're not.
They're not
as big as he tells people. Yeah, you know, we were just talking about that in the gym this morning.
You were talking about my biceps in the gym?
No, we were talking about you talking about your biceps in the gym. There's a difference.
I couldn't believe. I told Chris when we did this. I said at the very end, I said you've got to say something like it's all about town. You know, Rod's biceps are bigger than Father Josh's. You know, so
right.
You know,
You know, this is what I'll say.
All right.
This will be my final remark.
Okay.
I have a lot of people in my life that consistently need to remind me that their biceps are bigger than mine when they're not. But you know, I've never had to say those things. And so I think actually I feel pretty strongly that if you're in a position where you have to constantly tell other people how big your own biceps are, then they're probably not as big as you think or want them to be.
Yes. If
that is so true.
If you have to tell people you have money, you don't have money. If you have to tell people you have friends, you don't have friends.
Exactly.
If you have to tell people you have monster biceps,
probably
you don't have monster biceps.
Well,
you know,
they're respectable. You know. But anyway,
you know, Rod, I'll say your arms are bigger than most 67-year-old gay men.
All right, I'll take it. Absolutely, I'll take it. Josh, thank you very much for doing this. We really appreciate it. And Chris and I will talk, and we'll probably have you on again because there's lots of things that we probably didn't get to tonight, you know, or today. So we'd like to cover them maybe another time. We'll try.
That'd be wonderful
when you're free. Absolutely.
Sounds good. Just
All right.
let me know.
All right, Father Josh, it was great to meet you.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Have a great evening, guys. Thank you.
Bye. Well, Chris, that was quite a conversation with Father Josh.
Oh man, we knocked it out of the park again.
So, what were your takeaways from that?
You know, a couple of things. I was surprised at how much education he had to have.
Right.
I mean, it sort of sounded like he had to have, besides a college degree, and like 2 more master's degrees.
Right.
Plus all of the seminary clergy stuff. So
right. Well, and to have to go through that, like to be accepted, like your teachers have to accept you, your classmates have to, accept, and that the final and the bishop can say, nah.
I know. Can you imagine going through all of those degrees?
It's years.
And all of a sudden, for whatever reason, like,
you would wonder what that would take.
But you know what? It's truly a leap of faith, and I guess that says a lot about those who get through it. Then,
true.
So,
true. What else can we talk about, Father Josh? I just think he's just kind of a funny guy. I want to reiterate how grateful I was to him when it came to Jeff, because, when Jeff was in the hospital, Father went and talked with him, and I don't know what those conversations were. I don't know if I want to know what they are. They were between them. But when he showed up for Jeff's funeral and basically said, we're not Catholic, and so we had to be really careful about the wording about him and like officiating or whatever, we had to make those distinctions. But anyway, like I said, in the interview, Father Josh showed up, but our friend Josh showed up, because he knew us, he knew what he could say. The message was very clear. And he didn't go on and on and on. I think he talked for like 7 minutes, tops.
That's about right.
And it was just enough. There was enough happy, there was enough sad, there was enough poignant. He covered Jeff. He described Jeff in this wonderful way. About I make the reference about the young Frankenstein, that they have the abnormal brain, and that's where he went.
Abby's somebody.
Abby, you told me you put an abnormal brain in a 7-foot monster. Well, but where he went with that was really clever in the fact that Jeff was not. He was normal. I mean, he was an exceptional person.
Sure.
And that's where that went with that, which was really a great message.
What I thought was really interesting to hear was when he said, "I was honored to do these funerals of my family members and people I loved." And, and it was something that he wanted to do, and he wanted to be able to help them.
Right.
Last week's guest, Pastor Willie, said the exact same thing from the Lutheran point of view. Right. A different doctrine, I guess, or I guess is doctrine the right word, but a different point of view and how they, what they do, but yet they both felt the same way.
Well, I think in the funeral, incredible. In the funeral business too, I relate to that because I feel honored too, because I'm helping a family work through this grief, and it is an honor, to do that.
Sure.
I think Father Josh was very brave to bury his nephew.
Yes.
I mean, this child lived for 2 hours,
right?
And I'm going to share this. There's a photograph with Father holding his nephew, and it's just a beautiful photograph.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
And the family celebrated this child, which I think is fantastic. But what a brave thing to do to take that on. Yep. I don't know if I could have done that.
I couldn't have. I don't know how to run a funeral.
Oh, well, no, but
I agree. I know exactly what you're saying.
Right.
No, I think the last word on Father Josh is it was fun to find out we've done the same triathlons.
Oh, that's right. That you probably were talking.
We probably spoke to each other waiting in line to get in the pool. And
it's a small world.
So yeah, I can't wait to maybe get out and ride with him or something this summer.
That'll be interesting. Yeah. And he'll be open for that for sure.
Exactly. Absolutely. So anyway, that was a great interview, and please tune in again next week, and please keep sending us your messages and ideas and
what's your website again?
And your messages and all of that stuff. I could finish my thought first, and then you could ask.
Oh, never mind. Okay. Okay.
Okay, but yeah, please keep sending your messages to Forward Wellness for Caregivers.com, and make sure you're still listening to us on Boomer X Radio.
Great.
All right. See you next week.
All right. Hey, Chris, I think we had another good show tonight. I think we nailed it. I think we got knocked it right out of the park.
Yeah, Rod, this is our circus and we are our monkeys.
This is so true. This is so true. I'm really looking forward to the next show. I don't know what we're going to talk about.
I am too, and I thought you were figuring that out, so I guess maybe I'll help you with that.
Let's talk about that. Absolutely. But I'm really looking forward to whatever we talk about. It will be hopefully it'll be helpful. And
it'll be fun.
It will be fun. So yes, as fun as grief can be.
Exactly. So do not miss next week.
No.